Far away on the mainland, there lived two young boys. Their house lived in the woods by the countryside, away from the hustle and bustle of the busy cities. One Sunday, the boys had just turned 10 and wanted to explore what's in the woods. "I've needed one of you two to help me around," Aunt Tony would say. "But Auntie," one of them said, "we want to explore in the woods together." "I know you two want to have fun outside together, but someone has to help me so I don't feel too lonely." Aunt Tony was starting to get old. "If you go too far, you wouldn't find your way home now, would you?" "Please, Tony, we promise not to go too far. We just need to remember landmarks to help guide us." Now, my dear boys," she continued, "it may be hard for you to look for them. You're only starting to get more familiar with everything." "Yes, Tony. We understand, Auntie." "Could you please fetch me some porridge?" she asked. The boys helped their Aunt Tony around the house, keeping her hospitalized. When the time came, Aunt Tony gave permission to let her boys explore the woods. "Don't be gone too long," she called. The boys passed through small creeks, climbed dirt paths, until they spied something unfamiliar. The boys got closer and closer. It was an old box fan, sitting alone on an abandoned siding. The boys took a closer look, and even one tried to open the sliding door. It was stuck. Until... "Hey!" shouted a voice. Who there?" "It was me, Dunce. Show yourself." "I'm the box fan talking to ya." It was revealed that the box fan was alive. "You can talk?" "Of course I can talk. What else were you expecting? Prosecutors?" "What are you doing here in the middle of the woods?" The box fan sighed. "I was just an ordinary van, just like the others. My wish was to become something else one day, other than being ordinary goods. A long time ago, I was detached from an empty freight train and rolled down a branch line and into a siding. I waited a long time, but no one came, so I was left there eternity." "That's quite an unfortunate tale you told us. Where did you come from?" "We're a quarter mile through here, living with our Aunt Tony. We'll stop by sometimes to see you." "That sounds good. I like to have company, especially since before being here." Both the boys smiled as they went home. That evening, Aunt Tony asked how it was like exploring the woods. "We've seen an old box van abandoned in the woods. And it talks." Aunt Tony seemed little to no astonishment. "That's nice you discovered something that's lost. However, it's dangerous to be near railways or hunt down in the woods. You could have been hurt." "We were careful, Auntie." The boys rolled his eyes. "Still, I stand by what I say," and she rehashed everything from before. The boys grew tired of it. "Yes, Tony, we understand." Over the next few weeks, the boys kept looking after their Aunt Tony. They were also homeschooled, and soon, due to the boys being busy, they never got the chance to see the box fan. The box fan began to think that the boys would never see him again. Years had passed, and the boys had forgotten about the box fan. "Hey, Uglis, remember about the box fan we found out in the woods?" "What about it, David?" "I think we should make use of it, like for storage or a playhouse. I'm reading this magazine I found up in the attic." "Then I think we should revisit it at once." They left the house, and Aunt Tony's hospitality was thrown out the window. "Oh, thank goodness you're back," he cheered. "I thought for a moment it was some large animal, like a bear or a fox." "We have the idea to put you to good use," Faith suggested. "Really? That's wonderful. I can't wait to be back in action," so to speak. Suddenly, they heard a faint thud, followed by a cry for "Help! Help!" "It sounds like Auntie! Let's go back!" "We'll be back soon. This is a family emergency." The boys found that Aunt Tony had fallen over. "Auntie! Tony! What happened?" "My legs gave out," she strained. "Call the emergency service." They never saw Aunt Tony since. The boys still visit the BoxVan regardless. One day, someone knocked on the door. It was the doctor. "Are you Tony's nephews?" "Yes, we are. I have come to inform you that your Aunt Tony had passed away this morning." "Then who's going to look after the mortgage and us?" "That would be your responsibility. We unfortunately cannot help you at the moment." The doctor left. The boys had an idea on where to focus on shelter. "Let's do it," they discussed. The boys arrived at the BoxVan and explained what happened over the past fortnight. "I'm sorry to hear that. Since Aunt Tony is no longer with us to keep our roof over our heads, we'll turn you into our new home over the month." The BoxVan was delighted. They grabbed materials from their shed and began to work on transforming the abandoned BoxVan into their mobile home. The boys were sad to see their stuff being gone, so they got what they could to fit inside the BoxVan. The project was done just in time. "I've never got to ask you two, what are your names?" the BoxVan asked. "I'm Otis." "And I'm David," both the boys answered. "What's yours?" "I don't have a name, unfortunately," sighed the BoxVan. "How about we call you Anthony, named after our Aunt Tony who adopted us." And the name stuck with Anthony. He was cheerful. New owners took over Aunt Tony's house, and they were polite enough to let them visit twice a week. The boys showed them their home. They became good neighbors after this. The boys lived inside Anthony for nearly 20 years, and had relocated several times. Now, they were getting ready to move into a house they just bought, just outside the big city. Anthony suddenly became bored again. "Excuse me, I know you love me as your home, but I would like to become more than just a mobile home." "Already? What plans do you have?" "Well, David would like to become a filmmaker." "That was 20 years ago. I'm wishing to become a vacation tourist instead." "You know, you can make your childhood wishes come true." I guess you're right. I do have the best idea that no one else has probably done before." "What would it be?" "How would you like to play movies in railway yards?" "Really? For real?" Anthony started. "I'll get started on the blueprints shortly." The boys dubbed it as Project Railway Movie Van. And Anthony now had a purpose, which he'll never get bored of. "We have to go now, Anthony," said the boys. "I'll miss you very much," he sighed. "You gave me what you wished for. I'll be more than delighted for what the future holds." They waved their goodbyes. Tears were shed as he parted ways. Anthony was optimistic of his new life. He is distinguished from the rest of the rolling stock, and showcased motion pictures and slideshows during appropriate nights. So he'll never forget the two boys, as well with remembrance of her Aunt Tony, who restored him. His new life was here to stay, lasting a lifetime.